Good morning, children. Today we're going to continue our story in Samson. Now, if you remember last time, Samson was a young boy that was born specifically upon a prayer that God had ordered to be a Nazirite, and he was going to be a special helper for God. And he was never to go and drink alcohol, and he was never to cut his hair. And because he obeyed this part of what God had told him, he had tremendous strength. He had strength that was kind of beyond what most men would have. But sadly, Samson decided not to obey what God told him to do in other ways. He was kind of selfish and self-centered and wanted things his own way. And last time we remember him going to the city of the Philistines, and he chose a woman that he decided he wanted to marry, and things didn't turn out so well. And our story today starts with Samson and a woman named Delilah. Now, Samson was warned not to go back to the Philistines who hated him, but he wouldn't listen. He went back to their city because this time he decided that he was in love with a woman, another Philistine woman named Delilah. So wouldn't you think that maybe Samson would have known better by now? This woman, well, just like his first wife, tried to trick him into telling why he was so strong. The Philistines were afraid of Samson, and they were trying to defeat him, but they didn't know how to overcome his strength. So they went to Delilah, and they told her that if she could find out the secret of Samson's strength, then they would give her 1,100 pieces of silver. So Delilah began to beg Samson to tell her what was the secret of his strength. Please, please, Samson, why don't you tell me why you are so strong? Well, Samson says, if you were to tie me up with 7 raw leather cords, new leather cords, I would become as weak as anyone else. So, when he was sleeping, she tied him with leather cords, and then she yelled, "Wake up, Samson, wake up, the Philistines are coming." Well, Samson jumped out of bed, and he just snapped the cords like they were threads. Well, once again, Delilah began to beg him and badger him about telling her the secret of his strength. So Samson said, well, if you tie me with brand new ropes, then I will be very weak. So while he was sleeping, Delilah tied his hands with brand new ropes. And again she exclaimed, "Samson, Samson, wake up! The Philistines are here!" But he broke the ropes as if they were spider webs. By now, Delilah was starting to get kind of upset. She kept thinking about all the things she could do with that money if she could just get that money. So she began to whine and to cry and tell him he didn't love her enough. And so he told her another story, and he said, if you weave my long hair into your weaving loom, then I will have no strength. But again, that didn't work. Well, by now, Delilah was really getting upset. She asked day after day after day, and finally Samson just gave in. And he told her that if somebody would cut his hair, if they would cut his long hair, then he would be as weak as anybody else. So again, she waited until he fell asleep. This time she had someone else come in and cut his hair. And when he woke up, when she hollered that the Philistines were coming, he jumped up, but he wasn't strong anymore. His strength was all gone. He didn't really understand that God had left him. So they took him, after they captured Samson, they took him and they put him in prison. And they put out his eyes So now he was blind. And one of the jobs that they had him do is they had him grind grain. So he would push a pole around and around and around in circles, and the grain, it would roll this big stone over the grain, and it would crush the grain. So for several years, that's what he did. He was in the dark. He was grinding their grain for him. Day after day, he worked with the millstone. But during that time, his hair began to grow longer again. Well, the Philistines were so happy that they had captured Samson that they decided to celebrate. They decided to honor their god Dagon, who they gave credit to for capturing Samson. And during the celebration, they started to gloat, and they wanted to rub it in Samson's face that they had conquered him. So they had him brought out, and they had him chained between two of the pillars so that they could make fun of him and show him off to people that had come. The people laughed at Samson, and they were glad that he was blind and that he couldn't hurt them anymore. Well, a young boy came close to Samson, and Samson asked the boy to place his hands on the pillars, two of the pillars, so that he could lean on them for support. After the boy walked away, the temple for the evil idols, the Lord, afterwards, the boy walked away. Well, now, this temple was just filled with Philistines. They were all partying, and they were drinking, and they were having fun. And thousands of people were there. Oh Lord, Samson prayed. He was there by himself. People weren't close enough to him to really listen to him. They were having more fun making fun of him. And he prayed, oh Lord, just one more time. Just one more time, give me strength so that I may revenge myself on the Philistines who put out my eyes and who have profaned your name. Then Samson pushed, and he had one hand on one pillar and one hand on the other, and he pushed, and God restored his strength, and he pushed against the pillars until they fell. And down came the upper level and crushed everyone. Even Samson died during that because of him pushing the pillars out from underneath of that structure. So though Samson was eventually used by God to defeat the Philistines, he did not have to suffer as much as he did. If he would have went back and kept his vows that God wanted him to make to him, and if he had listened to his parents and not gotten involved with an idol-worshiping nation, he would not had to have gone through what he did. So even though God honored his request in the end, he had a lot of things that happened to him that was just because of his own stubbornness and his own desire to have his own way. So if your parents are with you watching this, or if you have other siblings that are watching, here's some questions you guys could talk about. One of them is, how could he have avoided losing his eyes? Another question might be, what kind of friends should you try to find? He got in trouble because he had to be friends with Delilah. And even after it was obvious, I'm sure, that she was trying to trick him, he still stayed friends with her. And another question might be, why did God restore his strength at the end? I miss you guys. I wish we could get together, and I'm looking forward to the day when we can. In the meantime, God bless. I love you.